mode. All right, so you should have gotten your recording notice. I feel like I need to go to the allergist because I'm like all stuffy. Mary was possibly not going to be able to make it because she had an appointment, but now she knows what she's allergic to, so that's a good thing. And it hopefully is not edtech or Wakelet or makerspaces or financial literacy. But so today we're just gonna do a special added session where we're gonna look at some new activity types that you could be creating beyond the ones that you're developing for this particular makerspace. And so we're going to walk through 3 different tools: Flippity, Jamboard, and Wordwall. We've used these tools multiple times in other makerspaces, in digital literacy, in health literacy, to basically give makers more options for how they might build and create activities for learners to develop their vocabulary within these different subject areas. And so we actually have, again, since Mary was not going to potentially be able to make it, she recorded hers. So we'll do Flippity and Wordwall first, and then I'll do, just so that we have some hands-on things, an interactive walkthrough of a Jamboard that is based in financial literacy, one that we created in the sample Wakelet. And then I'll show you just some of the tips and tricks on how that was created, and then share the template that you can use to create that particular activity if you'd like, or maybe your own creation that you want to do based on the vocabulary within your financial literacy topic area. So the first tool we're going to look at is Flippity. And actually, I'm going to unshare my screen just for a second because I do not think I shared sound. There we go. All right.
Oh, good, because I don't like to hear myself.
Sorry, Mary. All right, so Flippity, and I know that a couple of you have seen this before. Lola, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but Flippity is a really kind of bare bones tool, but it has so many flexible options, and these are activities that are generated just by adding terms and definitions, or any types of study sets that have 2 kind of parts to them in spreadsheets. And just from that spreadsheet, Flippity then gives you options for a bunch of different interactive activities using that very same set of words and terms in the case of what we're doing. And so you then just share a link with students. It's not something collaborative where everyone's working in the same one. So it could be good for maybe for students to get individual practice, and we'll see some examples in the video and at the end of this, or it could be a great tool for doing whole class activities, particularly if you have a whiteboard, an interactive whiteboard, where students can come and manipulate the terms. So on the slide, and actually I meant to share the slide deck with you. Let me go back. So all of these links, as always, are in the slides, and we will put them in Classroom as well. But on the slides is the sample Flippity from the set of words on protecting your finances. But in the video, we're going to see kind of how that activity set was built and what you can do with it. So I'm going to go back into slideshow mode, and we're going to play this video.
Hi, Mary Gaston here. I'm going to do a demonstration of Wordwall. Hopefully you had a...
And I'm just going to pause. Can folks hear the audio?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Is it too loud, too soft? Just right. All right. It's Mary Locks, like Goldilocks.
And that one's Wordwall.
Oh, whoops. Oh crud, did I? Here we go.
Did I do it
no,
wrong?
I flipped to the flips.
Seeing if we were awake.
See, thank you. All right, so here we go.
Hi, Mary Gaston here, and I'm going to do a quick demonstration of Flippity flashcards. So this is what was posted in Google Classroom on the classwork page under session 3, where it says EdTech Tool Playground. Very simple to create these flashcards. So there's elder fraud. If I want to look at the definition, I flip it over. If I want to go to the next one, I just use the arrow on the right. And that is one thing that you can do with the flashcards. This is the list of words. You could print it. And you can, it automatically does the pronunciation. It's not something that you have to turn on, if I remember right. We'll find out in a minute. You have some matching that you can do, and it'll time you. And there's practice, and you can swap this. You wouldn't want someone to have to try to match the definition word for word. So when it's this kind of matching, I want it to go this way. I want it to start with side 2. So it gives the definition, and the student might have the list printed out and or know what the words were and choose which word to put in the blank. Then you've got a more tab that has lots of other games. Some of them aren't as suitable to the word and definition setup as others, but you can play around with those and see which ones that you like. This is Flippity. All right, so I am now going to go to flippity.net. Flippity.net. This is the website. Each one of these cards is a different game. One that I have used a lot is the breakout. That's where a student, you have questions that they have to answer, and when they get it right, it unlocks the lock. And when they get all the locks unlocked, they break out. There's a name picker, there's a randomizer, just different things that you can play around with. Each one of these cards has a demo, and that's someone has created a game to show you how it works. And then there are instructions. So we're working on flashcards. I'm going to click on instructions. And here it tells you step by step what you need to do. The first thing you do, all of these are built with Google Sheets. Each one of these games is built with a Google Sheet. So I'm going to click on make a copy of this template. And if you're not signed in, it will coach you to do that. It has scripts file, and you can view those scripts if you want. I'm clicking make a copy, and there it is. So this is one that has already been created. It has 2 tabs. This is the information where you plug in the information for the flashcards. And we'll talk about this tab in a few minutes. That's where you go to get your link. So all of these are someone else's, and I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to go all the way down through here, select them all, and hit delete, because I have my own words and definitions. You can see the audio has been set here. You can choose the language. Okay. Now, this is the card color and the text color. You can do what you want. You want to be very careful with your color contrast, and make sure that it's not going to cause an accessibility issue. So usually what that means is one of these needs to be very light and the other one very dark. Okay. So what I'm going to do is make all of my cards white. I'm going to type it in one time. I'm going to choose that cell and grab that corner right there where the dot is, and I'm going to drag white. Well, I don't have to go down as far, but I will. I'll drag white all the way down. And then I'll make the text color blue. All right, select that cell, and I'm going to drag blue all the way down. Now I have to go get my words and my definitions. I go to my workbook, and I've already sorted this from before, but I can show you depending on the order you're watching these videos. Most of you did not select all your words. You focused on maybe 8 to 10. So if you want to get all of the ones that are selected together, you're going to choose column A, go to data, hover over sort sheet, and do sort sheet by column A. So that gets all my unchecked ones at the top, and my checked ones here. So I am going to now copy my words and definitions. I think on this one you have to do them one at a time. So I'm going to copy my words, right click, copy, go here. No, I think it would have let me do them together. Oh well. And now I'm going to go back and grab my definitions. Right click, copy, and paste those right here. Now I didn't use these. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I'm going to go ahead and delete those. All right, that's it. Now what you have to do is publish it. Okay, if you go to this tab right here, it says get the link. It's going to say in red, don't forget to publish it first. It says it can take up to 5 minutes. It's never taken mine 5 minutes, but now that I've said it, it will. But I go to File, Menu, and I go to Share. And I'm going to come, just hover over the choice Share, and I am going to choose Publish to the Web. Okay? Publish to the web. And I want a link to the entire document. So I'm going to click Publish. And ask me, am I sure? All right, and here is my link. And there's my activity. Okay. And that's all there is to Flippity. I hope some of you will decide to create a Flippity activity to go along with your financial literacy project. If you have any questions at all about any of these, be sure and let us know. We're here to help. Thanks. See you soon.
All right. So, and again, sorry, I will switch the incorrect video placement here. But on the Flippity side, there is that sample Flippity. And I just want to point out that in addition to the flashcards, what's great about Flippity is you then can share this link, which is just the
Elder fraud.
list of words,
The illegal or
with the
improper
audio.
use of an older adult's funds, property, or assets.
You can do a matching activity that allows you to have students, they select the word and that's a term. Let me find one that I know. Attempt to get you to send money pretending to be someone you don't know or trust. And so that's like a matching game, and it times you, so that's kind of fun. There's practice. Now this is a little challenging because it's the term and you'd have to type in the definition, but you can change it so that it's side 2 and then they're entering the word. So once they've had more time working with the words, they can, see if they know the words based on the definitions. And there's a whole slew of other activities that you can use with that one set of words and definitions. So that's a really great thing about Flippity. All right, so I'm gonna just do this now because this is gonna drive me absolutely crazy. Send it back.
And Jeff and Mary, can you remind us, if we create a Flippity activity, which link is it that we're sharing again for the glossary?
So ideally, well, whatever the activity link is, if you're doing the cards, I would just share, it could be any of these technically, but I mean, might as well just do the flashcards. And then ideally, we hope that you can supply the link to your spreadsheet as well, because that allows us, when we actually put this out there, that folks will have access not only to the original activity, but to the spreadsheet that was used to generate it in case they want to adapt it.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, so now we're going to go to Wordwall, and Wordwall, in a similar vein, it's creating activities that have words and definitions. It's not fully free like Flippity, where there is a limitation to the number of activities you can create with the free account. But these are very game-based activities, which is nice for particularly individual practice. But in the same vein as Flippity, just creating one activity using whichever activity type you want opens the door for actually a bunch of different game-based variations of the same set of words and definitions. So we have the sample word wall here. And now we will play again, Ms. Mary Gaston doing a demonstration of Wordwall.
Hi, Mary Gaston here. I'm going to do a demonstration of Wordwall. Hopefully you had a chance to play with the one that we posted for you in Google Classroom on the classwork page under session 3. There was a material posted called EdTech Tool Playground. In there you had examples. So hopefully you've seen this. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And this is a matching activity where you simply drag the word over to match the definition, and I'm gonna just drag the word protect over there, and the learner would continue to practice dragging them over, then click submit answers, and it goes down through and checks and tells them which ones are right and which ones are not. There's a leaderboard and it tracks time and posts, you know, the best time, which is it's a feature you can turn on and off. One thing I really like about this is when you share, here's the share button. When you pick up the link to share this with a learner, when they get to the game, they have the ability to swap up the game. It'll have the same words, same definitions, but they can do something different. For example, I'm going to do balloon pop. And when I get to balloon pop, it has levels. The first level, you're just working on one definition. You try to pop the balloon and drop it into the back of the train. Make sure somebody or something isn't harmed. That's protect. And I got that one right. Now, as the game levels up, there's more words, you know, more train cars, more balloons. So you have other ones that, you know, they can just keep practicing the same words, but in a different way. So I'm going to go to my activities, and I'm going to tell you that when you go to create a word wall, you do have to create an account. You have, with the free account, you can have 5 activities in your collection. And that's the limit unless you want to subscribe. But you have a whole community where you can search for other people's activities. And if you got friends, you all agree to have 5 and you share them with each other, and you have more access and don't have to pay that subscription. Just a heads up on that. So I'll show you how to do the create activity. It's the blue button right here. And I'm going to create one just like I just showed you. This is the template that you use. I'm going to go ahead and title it Demonstration. I'm going to go to my workbook, and I am going to sort my selected words and not selected words. So I want them all together so I can copy them all at one time. So the way that you would do that is select column A. I do that by clicking on the column A. I go up to data and I do sort sheet. I just hover and then slide over here to sort sheet by column A. So that way it put my ones that I didn't select for my slides and my Wakelet, and all of the ones that I did select start here and go down. So let me choose. Well, I don't want to copy that. I want to copy the words and the definitions all the way down to the word unauthorized. I'm going to right click, copy. I'm going to go to Wordwall, and I'm going to click in this first box here, and then I'm going to right click, paste. Okay. Now you can turn on the pronunciation feature. I'll show you with just one how to do that. You click and then you choose the language, and you choose whether you want a male or female voice. And what I tend to do is do like every other one. So it plays it for you, make sure that you're okay with that pronunciation. So you can turn those on. You can also add images, which I have not done for this set. I can tell you that when I first created the activity, I went back and deleted some words just by hitting the trash can right here. You have a copy feature, and you can trash one. These arrows let you move them up or down. But scam and fraud were very close. I don't like, setting people up to be frustrated. So I took that one out, and I got it down to around 7 words. But that's up to you. I usually play the game and see how frustrated I would have been. And if some of them are tough, I'll rethink them. So I'm going to click done. And I have different themes down here. So if I wanted the game to look different, it'll be the same kind of game. It'll just have different backgrounds. You can choose fonts. You can turn on a leaderboard, and you can have a timer, whether it counts up or counts down. So lots of different features there. But when you're ready to share it, you click share. What did I do? I have to publish it, and then I copied the link. Okay, and other ways that you can share as well. Now, if you were to find, like if you liked this one but you wanted to change it, you have the ability when you're there to tell it you want to edit the content. And when you edit it, it's not going to edit my copy. It's going to create a copy of it that's going to be one of your 5 in your set. So I hope that this was helpful, and I hope some of you will create some word walls to go along with our financial literacy collection. Take care.
All right. So that is 2 of the, whoops, what's going on here? Why can't I get out? Here we go.
Hi, Mary Gaston here.
Okay, sorry about that.
Please shut her up.
So again, there's a sample word wall here, and also in the protecting your finances tool. So the third one, or Wakelet, sorry. So the third one we're going to look at is Jamboard. So Jamboard is probably maybe the more familiar one. I know we use it a lot in our trainings and our professional development, and that is because of the 3 of these, it is one that allows for collaboration. And so for folks to actually be able to, I guess I can turn my camera on here, for folks to be able to collaborate synchronously or asynchronously within a file. So it's really a whiteboard tool that allows you to do, and it's super flexible with very limited actual features. But it's kind of freeing sometimes when you have that limitation, because people can get really creative with what they're doing with their Jamboard. So we're going to look at the one that's actually in your Wakelet, and you're going to go into it as an editor, so that you have the ability to actually experience it as a student. And then, so feel free to move things around as you wish. And then I'm going to just show how this was created. So the activity we're going to look at is actually a template that came from a maker. So we had done a design slam a couple of years back, and one of the makers created this great vocabulary Jamboard that has a sequence of activities that students do, and that includes what's called the knowledge rating scale, finding a picture of the actual term, so that students are demonstrating their understanding of the term through visuals, but also building internet skills, and finding images online that relate to the particular term. There's a matching activity, and there is a sentence writing activity. And what's kind of nice about this tool, as you'll see when we dive into it, is the different features and ways in which students can interact with the Jamboard are really good for building their digital skills, because some of the features that are in Jamboard, such as adding text boxes or using drawing tools or even adding sticky notes, are common features in other tools. And so I like Jamboard particularly for that reason as well. So I'm going to hop into this sample Jamboard, and I'm going to share the link with you. And again, you are actually going to have access to this as an editor. So I'm going to paste that in. And so feel free to hop in that and hop and join. And so what you'll see here is this collaborative whiteboard space, and you'll see that like some of these pieces are draggable, and all of these pieces actually are draggable because I didn't actually set these as background, which is just the kind of the one big thing that I'm going to show you how to do during this session. But as you can see, this like cover thing is actually just bits and pieces of text and other things that have been placed on this screen. And what this is for this activity is kind of an overview for you as a teacher to understand how you could duplicate this and use it with your own students. So again, the 4 different activity types in this particular example of an activity that I've created is the knowledge rating scale that I mentioned, finding an image, a matching activity, and sentence writing. So what you'll see is you can navigate from one thing to the other. So I'm going to ask you, you can do this where you expand or collapse it, or you can just use the arrows to go to the next frame. So I'm going to ask you to go to the next frame. And what's, again, nice about Jamboard, if you're using it, say, in a distance learning setting or where students are working remotely, but synchronously, I can see where people are. So I can know. Now, mind you, I don't see their names, but I can see that folks are with me. And so I see most of you are now in frame 2, and now all of you are. That's great. So this is a knowledge rating. Yeah, go ahead, feel free to drag things around. So the word bank here are all of these words that students can do what's called this knowledge rating scale, which is really important, especially start of unit or like when you're engaging at the start of learning new terminology or new topics. What is your familiarity with these words? So we have stranger, acquaintance, friend, and BFF. And so students can drag the terms to wherever they feel. Now you'll notice, unlike that first frame, if you try to click on stranger or the image, none of these things move. And that's because I've made a background that makes those kind of stuck, like they cannot be moved or manipulated. And so the only things that are actually able to be manipulated on this screen are these text boxes themselves. You'll also notice that the direction line is in the bottom. And the reason for that is on a mobile device, this navigation piece here, this little menu for navigating, appears actually on top of the Jamboard and the frame. And so if the directions are up there, it's really hard for students to read them because they're blocked by this navigation icon. And so knowing that a lot of our learners are accessing on mobile devices, we put them at the bottom. So you'll see, again, there's other activities. Now I'm moving on to the 3rd frame. So go ahead and make your way. So this is an activity, and the directions always identify the icon. So in this case, this is the picture icon. Read the words and definitions, insert a picture in the box to show the definition of the word. So Jamboard has this really great add image feature, which allows you to upload or take a picture on your webcam, but it also allows you to go to Google Images. And you can search within Google Images. So I could, someone has done it. And so the goal of this activity is to, awesome, thank you for modeling for me, this is showing protect, and so showing an image that like is indicative of what protecting means, so keeping things safe. So that's a fun activity. Then this is a matching activity where students would use the pen tool to draw a line from one term, each term, to the definition, and this is the 4th frame. So I'm not going to try to model my knowledge of matching these things in real time, because that's never a good idea. But you get the point that they can draw. And there's also an eraser tool. And so this gets into some of those common features that students might encounter in other applications. And then finally, this is a activity where students are asked to write sentences using the vocabulary words and using the sticky note tool. So I can write a sentence on, again, I should not be, Susan clicked on the link in the email. She did not realize it was a phishing. And now she is, wait, what's whatever. We're just going to stop there. Again, I should never try to think on the fly. But students can basically create a sticky note and then add a sentence to demonstrate their knowledge. So you'll see each one of these provides opportunities for students to demonstrate their knowledge in different ways. But you also notice these aren't pre-packaged. These are actually things that I, as the instructor, or actually the maker who created this activity, designed myself. So the way that you create any of these, and in all of the ones that I create, I try to, if I have backgrounds such as this, where none of these things can be moved, to make sure that activities are reusable for others. So maybe you don't want all these terms, or maybe you want to simplify the definitions. You can't do that if the only thing you have is this version. So I always add the versions of the slides that I used to create those backgrounds so that others could adapt it. So for example, all of the ones that have those backgrounds are here. And I'm going to go to this one, and I'm just going to delete this. And so say I didn't want to use or have unauthorized. I can just delete these. And if I want to then make this so that these are fixed and that students can't move them, this is the one little feature trick I'm going to show you. And that is, you go to the little skinny snowman here, and you can save this frame as an image. So when I do that, it's going to automatically take this and save this to my downloads. And so you'll see what's nice if you're in Chrome is those downloads suddenly pop up in this bottom bar. So now if I wanted to create a new frame that has this as the background instead of these things being manipulated, I can go to the end, and this is a blank frame now. And so I can set the background, and you'll see this is really nice because you could do other types of activities where maybe students, like math, you can see obviously some implications for that. So they have these preset backgrounds, but I can also add any image I've created as the background. And so what's nice is I can just actually drag from my my downloads bar there the image that I just created. And so now, unlike this frame where all of these things can be moved, this frame has that as an image, and that is the background, and I can't move any of these things. So that's how this activity was created. I will add to our follow-up to this the template that you could use to actually create this very same activity. And then all you need to do is basically flip out and change. It'll just be text and definition, and you can type in your words and definitions. And I just on this last slide, and I failed to, I have a couple other Flippities that I'm trying to hunt and pack and find. But you can see all sorts of different activities that makers from previous either digital literacy or health literacy makerspaces have made using these tools. I'm going to go to one that Evelyn has created last year during the Staying Healthy version, where she created this from scratch. So you can see that she found an image and created this really nice background. And so this is an activity where she actually created a thing where you drag the picture. Oh, I think I have to make a copy first. So I can make a copy of this, and then I can engage with this activity. So 1 second, so you can see what that looks like. So I can drag and I may have lost my internet connection. Okay, we're reconnected. Okay, so I can drag the picture, the symptom, and what it means. And so this is a fun activity where I love the vomit picture. You can have students dragging and matching pictures and symptoms. She also had another slide doing some other things. So these are all the terms from a chapter of Staying Healthy that she decided to create this activity with. So lots of sample maker activities here. And just a reminder that this is optional. This is only if you want to try out doing some new edtech tools. But our showcase for all of the activities that are being developed that are the core activities, so within the Wakelet that you are creating, those are due the 17th. Is that correct, Mary?
That is correct.
And then we will be showcasing them and cleaning up everything and having them ready. So our full resource bank for financial literacy will be showing in about 3 weeks on Thursday, July 27th. So that is that. Are there any questions? Actually, I'm going to give you control, Mary, now, because hopefully you can show in that spreadsheet where they can.
Jeff,
Yeah.
did you get my message?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay. I got knocked out. Our power is out here. So I'm on an iPad with very low, one bar. So
You're
probably
going through it. All right. So how about you guide me and I will I'll share my screen again. And thank you for your perseverance. All right. So I could go to any of their workbooks.
yes.
All right. So we'll go to personal banking.
And I probably haven't updated that one. Go ahead, scroll to the end, teacher created activities. And what I have done on the 2 groups represented here today, I've added another column because some of them will have a link to the activity and also a link where we could copy the activity. And so it'll say, if applicable. For example, Wordwall, all you would have to do is give us the link. And then if we needed to make a copy, I can do that from that link. Flippity is a little different. I want to make sure, are you hearing me?
Yes. And I'm just
Okay.
showing what you're actually.
I thought, well, here I am just talking and I can't see anybody because I'm trying not to show a lot of stuff. But anyway, so you would put just the link. Now, Flippity's going to be different. You're going to have the link that takes the learner to the activity, but that won't let us copy. So what you do is for Flippity, you're going to go into your Google Drive and find that spreadsheet. You know, when I clicked on instructions on that Flippity flashcard activity, it forced me to copy a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I copy Google Drive and then click the share button, and that way you can share that activity, share that spreadsheet, and then a teacher could edit it to suit themselves and republish it.
Just one thing I'm noticing as I'm here, and we should test this. It looks like if the teacher who has created the original Flippity sets their spreadsheet as view access with under view access, then someone encountering this activity should be able to get the view only and then make a copy of that right directly from Flippity. So like removing the need for 2 links. But that's an
Yeah,
assumption. That's an assumption I'm making here, but it looks like it's trying to open that file. And if that's the case, then if the file were view or anyone can view, then you could view it and then make a copy of it to create. the
there you
same.
go. I
Yeah.
didn't have that. I didn't have it shared that way, but I will go in and make sure I do that.
Cool. And then the same thing applies for Jamboard. Although within Jamboard, as long as you make it viewable, anyone has the ability to make a copy, as I did with this one that Evelyn created. Okay. So any
Yep.
questions? Go ahead.
Sorry, on the Jamboard,
Mhm.
do you want us to keep the vocabulary words movable? Or should it be save the background as image when we turn it in? Or do you want both?
It depends on, so if depends on the frame. So within this one, these should not be movable. So what I've done is, as I was showing as I was walking through this, is I've got each of the frames that are not movable at the start, and then there's the versions that allow, although I'm realizing I might be missing a couple, the versions that allow people to adapt it. But if you don't do that, that's fine. That's just kind of to me, what I try to do, so that people, if they want to say remove the word like I did, they have the ability to change things. Or you could leave everything, as movable, but obviously that if a student was, in this activity and these things are movable, you can see how that could get problematic very quickly.
So a lot of these, we had trouble finding images in Google Images. So you probably want us to reality test whether or not there are images that they will find. Right?
Well, two things on that, Kate. You have your hands tied a bit because you are producing something that we're sharing out to the world as like quote unquote product. And so you're limited by the fact that you have to be using specific tools that have certain licensing rights. A student doing this activity for the sake of just doing the activity and demonstrating their knowledge, they're not limited in that way. So they can find any image on Google. So I mean, as you'll see, if you are adding an image of, say, identity theft, it's kind of, any of these things. Now, some of these, the problem is like, okay, if I select this image, am I demonstrating my understanding of identity theft? No. So that's the thing with certain terms. So like this would be more indicative of, a student kind of having a sense of, oh, identity theft happens oftentimes via digital means. And so,
Up
yes.
above, there was a great fishing one.
What's that?
There was a great fishing one. Somebody with a fishing hook. That one right there.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of a thing that, like, with the teacher would have to kind of establish with students, is helping them really, understand what does it mean to demonstrate your knowledge. But so there's a lot more options. But I will say this activity template, it's more challenging for certain word sets than others, depending on how abstract the terms are. Like if it was like biology and images of like parts of a cell, that would be a lot easier. So yeah. All right, any other questions on these open activities? All right, I know we've gone over. Okay, so now I think we're going to transition. I'm going to stop the recording, and if you don't have any questions on the core main
just one more
project
question.
activities, on the activities, go ahead.
Yeah. So after we create an activity, you wanted us to add it as a tile
Oh, thank you.
on
Yes.
our Wakelet?
Not as a separate tile, depending. So the way that we've taken ours is they're in the we're in a different one here. You go to the protecting your finances one. We've added it within the vocabulary. So we have the financial literacy glossaries, the things you created, the glossary slides, the 2 learning chocolate safety study sets that deal with that. And then we put teacher created activities as its own. So this is like the heading 2. And then the bulleted list of however many, if you create 1 or more. But this is a model if you want to use this as the basis. But if you just add it to your spreadsheet, that way we have access to those original links. That's helpful.
And you only wanted to update the created by at the very bottom if we do teacher created activity?
No, this is actually for
or
you,
it's
period.
for all of us.
It's for all of you for the Wakelet. All of you have contributed to the creation of this Wakelet.
Okay.
Which includes the slides and the curating of the various activities into it. So yeah, giving attribution credit to you as being the person who's created this Wakelet, or the people who've created this Wakelet and the activities within it.
I think I've finished all my questions.
All right. Cool. All right, I'm going to stop.